Hi, I'm Uzi, and you are listening to Catholic versus Atheist.
I usually like to ask my guests to introduce themselves. Just talk a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you believe, and why.
I have been born in the Fiji Islands, and I come from the family of enslaved, which were brought from India to Fiji, and I have a mixture of other blood in me. My ancestors from my father's side have been Afghanis, and I come from a Muslim family. I was born from this woman who had 13 children, basically raped every day of her life by her husband and beaten brutally. When I experienced life and started to understand it, I didn't see anything else but horror. All the focus that we got was to ask forgiveness from this motherfucking God that was put into our head. So as I was growing up and the violence that I lived in and all the agony that I have been through as a kid, it has been very challenging in my life from a very young age, and I have been in a lot of trouble in my life. And I'm going to be 59 years old this year. But I have been on therapy for 30 years in my life, and I'm going to do that forever to come now. And I will never quit that, and I only tell my story to people who have a degree and who are able to understand psychology. 30 years of psychologists that I have seen has opened my heart and spirit. And I have 4 children. One kid that I have adopted at a very young age, he was 3. And I have got 3 blood kids of mine. And I have adopted 2 other kids. And I have a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. And all my children are all in martial arts, and they all got black belts. I have been explosive in my life. I have a very high energy level. I don't drink alcohol at all. I'm striving to change the education of my generation and put them in the right place. And I have spent all my life doing camping and all kinds of stuff. When I lived in Montreal for 10 years. I had a huge business over there also, and at a very young age, but I was very anger driven. Obviously, and I had lots of challenges still on my table. But, a few years ago, when I quit drinking, and I said to myself, I need to go and see another psychologist. And after seeing this lady, I have decided that I will never stop seeing psychologists in my life, because from time to time, I need to refresh stuff in my heart and in my mind. Because after a little while, more questions arise in my mind, and I like to resolve them with a professional, Because of the brutality and because of the scare about God, when I became a young teen, I had totally become reckless and very angry of what was happening to my mother and everything around us by this man who was a total dominator and a brutal, huge, very bad man. And so, I became very revoltive. And since I was so revoltive, they thought that I was possessed by the devil, which was actually very advantageous to me, And so, when I got to become 17, I was a very angry man, and I'm the youngest member of our family. And my brothers were just pussies because they had been beaten in their life brutally also. But I had experienced this violence ever since birth, and all I wanted to do was kill my father when I grow up, So, when I was 17, we were living in this little village in Fiji. And one day when I came back from school, I was in grade 11, and I was training. I was doing already in martial arts, and I was doing actually boxing and weightlifting, and I was just 17 years old, and then my old man came over, and he went inside the house, and he kicked the plate my mother was sitting and eating in, so that she could serve him as soon as he comes home. But she was a little bit late, so he kicked her plate and started beating her. So I was downstairs with my friends doing weightlifting, and I was pumped up. So I came inside, went upstairs. So my old man, when he looked at me, he goes, "What do you want?" So I go, "I don't want to touch her anymore." He goes to me, "What are you going to do about it?" I go, "I don't want you touching her anymore, or else I'll have to beat you." So, he was in his early 50s, so he was pretty fit at that time. So, I said, "Come on outside." So we went outside, and we lived in a village, so people were very used to all kinds of commotion which was happening in our lives on a consistent basis. So what happened was there was people around, a whole bunch of people were already around, and my old man came outside, and I didn't let him touch me. I was really very good already. So after a couple of seconds, I just dropped him on his knees, and he was on the ground already. But my brothers, they just kicked the fuck out of me. All my three brothers just jumped on me and beat me up so bad. But I was just like they said, I had the devil in me. So, the devil, that infusion of anger related energy that I had harnessed inside of me came out, and I was able to get out of that rumble, and I went and grabbed some gas, and I started throwing gas. I was going to light the house on fire, right? But just in a couple, few minutes, the cops were grabbing me, and they were putting handcuffs on me, and they were escorting me out of the property, and I was not allowed to come back there anymore. So I was just 17 years old, and I have worked all my life, and I have been a very intelligent kid even when I was small, and I always covered my ass because or else I'll be fucked, basically. So because of the life I had lived, and the kind of I had to be always thinking. I couldn't basically never ever stop thinking, or else I'd be in trouble. So what happened was, what I did was, I was saving money. I had, this is in 1976 or something like that, right? And I was saving money, and I had like $300. So I went and lived at my sister's house, who was the oldest member of our family, for a few days. And then what I did was I got myself a passport real quick, and I was able to go to Australia. So I went to Australia, and I got myself into a lot of trouble over there. I stayed in Australia for 2 years, just over 2 years, and then I was escorted by police to the Fiji Islands again. My problem was anger related. I love to fight. I would, with a flick of a second, I would be in a rumble with people. It didn't bother me, and my anger was not harnessed. I didn't have very many tools at that point in time. My testosterone was at a very high level. I was very highly energetic and in and out of trouble all the time. And I always promised myself, if I ever touch a girl physically with anger, I will cut my fucking hands off, right? And I never ever touched a woman physically, ever. The only way I touch women is with love, right? And I have taught this to my children also, or else I'll fucking kill them. If I ever hear one of my kids ever beat his wife or his woman, I will kill the motherfuckers. And if any violence, if I ever experience violence in front of me, I get involved in it. If there is a woman involved in it, I will get in there immediately. So I don't take this thing that has happened in my life lightly at all. I have studied almost 7 religions. I know Islam like the back of my hand, and I know of Hinduism, and I know of Christianity, and I know of Rastafari, and I know of Buddhism, and I also, my last religion that I actually implicated myself in was Hare Krishna. They're all fucking stupid as fuck, because they were all born in different places. They all got some kind of stupid hat they are wearing. Some of them are molesting their own fucking children because they are so prehistoric still, and evolution of life has obviously not hit these motherfuckers yet. Like a bigger part of this world have not been able to evolve because they have been all forced into religion thousands of years ago, and all of them have been brainwashed in the same way. So they have been following something. I find that human beings, because when they are not evolved, it could be a disaster because they do not know how to think. That's why they have been harnessed by chains and religion. So the superiors who have been evolved before, they actually have been able to get all these monkeys who've been coming out of the bush on a consistent basis and raping them and their children and making them their slaves and making them work and giving them a little bit of wheat and flour and, choosing the most beautiful ones and keeping them close to them and so forth, And the evolution of man has been happening for millions of years. So there has been smarter people. If you go down in 10,000 or 5,000 years ago when there are castles which has been built, they have been built by pretty smart men. So these smart men already had it figured out, like which I have got it figured out now. These smart men have already got it figured out. So they have been having slaves and using others beautifully. And those motherfuckers have been bringing their daughters, their children to get raped and bringing them their money also. Because why? If you do not do this, you will go to hell. And there is a God, I have already met him. He's going to come and fucking violate everything that you need violated to make you understand that if you don't love me, I will send you to hell. So basically the philosophy in life grew. People who have been evolved, like for example, if I make a machinery today, in 1,000 years that machinery will be so fucking profound that it will start doing shit by itself. So these religions in 2,000 years, let's say Christianity is 2,000 years, they have made it better and better of how to make people totally follow. Now you know what they do? These pastors, they got people so fucking brainwashed, they go, bang, and they all fucking fall down. You see that over TV and all kinds of fucking places. And yes, I had experience. When I was growing in my village, one of my uncles, he was a witch doctor. And I was beside this uncle of mine watching these stupid motherfuckers. When I was a kid like this, I was talking to my elders. They already thought, they go, where do you get all this stuff from? Because my brain was already evolved than like 99% of these people who lived in the village around me. I saw right through the witch doctor and the people who were brainwashed with that also. A mind is a funny thing, David. If you do not control it and if you do not discipline it, discipline doesn't happen by just talking to you. Discipline happens by practice. You got to practice. Like you practice religion, you got to fucking practice discipline. Motherfuckers, if you're going to take all your children beautifully dressed on a Sunday afternoon to the favorite priest, is not the way to discipline or to create a legacy for your family. Just lately this is starting to come out. Before you were not allowed to think like this or else you'll be killed, motherfuckers. You understand that? If you start thinking like this 20 years ago or 30 years ago, you'll be killed. You'll be fucking taken to the jail and you will be fucking locked up. For the shit that I am saying right now, if I was in another country, I'd be hanged. Do you realize that? That's why these important scholars have been hiding. They have to fucking hide. And give the lead to these fucking stupid motherfuckers who wear different kinds of hats and they got different kinds of beard and all that other fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? So these more intelligent people have been threatened by their lives and many have been killed. Many, thousands, millions, like Nostradamus and Rasputin. All the people that have been existing in this world, they have been called witch doctors and they've been killed.
Do you know anything about Aleister Crowley? Do you like him or no?
No, I don't know him.
Okay, he was a Satanist. Did you ever get into Satanism as a worldview?
No, like I said, I do not need to know that. That is another fucking stupidity that humans have created. Because I lived that at first hand. When I told you about my witch doctor, he was into Satanism. And this Satanism is it's a state of mind. Like I said to you earlier, that if you do not harness your mind and if you do not discipline, it will do funny things on you. And you could be believing in rock to become your stupid fucking God, which a lot of people do. These stupid crosses and shit, people are praying to that fucking piece of fucking wood every day of their lives. You know, the world can go and believe in any fucking shit they wish to. Me, I'm changing one family at a time, and that is my family. I don't have to change this stupid fucking world. What my goal is to make the best and the strongest family who could get more evolved and educated in the generations to come and become this world's leaders. That's what my goal is.
Is there any book you've read that aligns with your worldview that sort of matches what you believe? Is there a book that would sort of give an idea of where you're coming from or no?
I'm not sure if there is one, and I haven't been very much looking for one either. And I do not read books.
Would you be interested in writing a book?
Yes, I would be. I will be definitely writing a book, and I'm looking for a writer to write my story.
What are some of the basic principles that guide the decisions you make day to day and moment to moment?
I do not require God or Satan's threat to be a good man and have an understanding in righteousness. I do not need that stupidity to tell me what is right or what is wrong. I know what is right and what is wrong. I enforce the righteousness. I do not steal. I do not lie. I do not cheat. I do not fuck around with people. I do not get people to fuck around with me. And I do not take life lightly. It is important for us, some people, to enforce the right kind of law in this world. And I cannot do that to this stupid world. I have to be a living example and the right truth for my family so that they could understand it easier than I did.
Have you ever thought about the origins of life? If there's no God, then how did life come about?
So you know that we humans can make another human. And all these cats and dogs and shit, we humans have made them.
Oh yeah?
Fucking right we did. We've been evolving these dogs from wolves and fucking all kinds of dingoes and shit. Now we have got domesticated dogs of whichever quality we wish.
But we're just mixing and matching stuff that's already there, you see? It's like when you make a cake, you take the flour and the eggs, but you didn't make the eggs and you didn't make the flour. Do you understand?
Yes, it's called science. If you mix two different chemicals, you're going to have something else. That's what we have done. So, do you know about this cosmic world that there are many, many worlds like us around? A human brain doesn't have the ability to think that far. No, we don't. So when we don't have the ability to think that far, why the fuck should we live our lives in question? You understand where I'm coming from? Why the fuck should we live all our life in a question of who has created us, or why we are created, and all that other bullshit? Whereas you could be centered in the source of life, which is, what do humans strive for? We strive to have a good family. We want to be honest. We want to be truthful. We want to have better family than we will come from and continue like this. So there are other life sources that could have created that. And there could be God. There could be the devil. But am I looking for these motherfuckers? No, I'm not. Not a fucking chance I am. And for the people who wish to continue to look for them for all their fucking lives, hallelujah to you motherfuckers. I don't. I have got my problems answered. My question has been answered. I'm not looking for all this fucking bullshit. I've been a kid who has been molested, raped, and seen only fucking horror show. That was enough for me. I do not need all that fucking shit. What I need is to find peace. To find peace, you have to find yourself. And to find yourself, you have to know of who you are, what you want, and where you are going. And once you have found these elements in your life, you start setting goals. You set small goals and you achieve them, and you get stronger. You set bigger and better goals and you keep achieving them. This is called the human evolution. Then when you have arrived to the ability to your maximum, then you'll kick the bucket and fucking die. And you know what happens when you die? You are gone and life continues, man. Do you understand? So don't fucking worry about what happens when you die. You will be fucking, you're just dust. It'll become nothing. You will be nothing, right? And there's no such thing as soul, so don't fucking worry about that part. Once your heart starts beating, you're dead. Do you understand? So there is no such thing which comes out of your fucking body with a fucking smoke going in there. There's no such fucking thing. These are all imaginary things that religion has put into people's minds, and people follow it like fucking morons. Fortunately, I have been able to get out of it, and my family has also. So I've made a huge jump in my fucking family's life, you know.
Do any of your family believe in any religion?
No. I have brainwashed them not to believe in religion.
So what is the basis of morality? Like, what if someone said to you, look, Uzi, I can find a way to have more pleasure, to have a better family, more money, more reputation, a better reputation by cheating, stealing, and lying and making a fake life. And I'm profiting at the expense of the people around me. People around me are suffering, but I'm getting away with it because I hide it. But I'm having more pleasure. I'm getting more out of life than you are. I've got a bigger house, a bigger car, a bigger boat, a more beautiful wife, etc. because I lie, cheat, and steal. So what do you say to that?
I think that hallelujah to you, motherfucker, because anything you do, you're going to get caught and get fucked in the end. Because you will live the life of a fucking rat, and you're going to be hiding in a fucking hole. Your heart is not open. You're not powerful. This is the signs of a weak man. You're a fucking pussy. That's what I'm going to tell him, right? You ask me a question, what I'm going to tell him. I'll say, you live the life of a fucking pussy. You got no fucking elements to show your children and the generations who are going to come. There will be a bunch of fucktards. And this is what you want to live? Hallelujah to you, my brother, but you're not part of my clan. Get the fuck out of my life.
So you believe in justice. It seems like you think justice is always achieved, that people don't get away with anything, really.
Absolutely. Justice will be achieved, and even if it is not achieved, that rat will die a fucking rat's life. Why the fuck should I try to change him? And if it comes in my way, I'll crush that motherfucker. I'll crush that motherfucker if he tries to intervene in my fucking life or come into anywhere around my family. He's not the chosen one. He should keep away from men like me.
What do you say about the voice of conscience that's inside of your heart and your mind that tells you this is good, this is not good, do this, don't do that? What do you think about that? Because for me, that's the voice of God.
God doesn't tell you that. So that chemical inside your brain, it might have an imbalance. Let me tell you about something. So that imbalance might be creating too much testosterone. So that testosterone, that extra imbalance of testosterone is making your dick hard all the fucking time. And all you are fucking thinking is fucking something or somebody. So that man's imbalance in his fucking brain, he cannot control it. He's a pedophile or a rapist or a fucking rapist artist, and he's only looking for this fucking pleasure in his life. That's how a brain functions. Brain has got many chemicals inside of it.
Do you believe in the supernatural or no?
I want you to ask me and simplify that question for me, please.
Do you think that everything is matter and energy, or is there some order above the order of nature that is called the supernatural, where we have spirits and God and all that?
There are energy. There are kinds of energy. Yes, there is. I can feel the energy. And it is not that important to me that I'm going to fucking die trying to find out what the fuck it is.
But is that energy natural, or do you think it's supernatural?
It's a natural energy.
So my point is that where does freedom come from? How do you explain freedom? Because you're free to make it one choice or another, right?
A human's ultimate goal in a human is to find peace. So there is a formula to find peace, which I have resolved in my life, because your brain is different than mine. It is not the same formula you will require to do this, right? Every brain is different from each other. So for me, I have found peace, and I found peace, and I work towards becoming of who I have become today. To find peace, you have to find yourself. To know of where you are going and what route you're going to take to get there. And set goals. Once you start achieving small goals, then you get stronger.
You've explained that, but what I'm asking is, isn't everything determined by your past experience and by the circumstances that surround you? Everything is in place to force you to make the decisions that you make, and there's no choice.
Nothing has forced me.
No?
I have made that choice myself.
Where does that do you have any philosophical explanation for where that freedom might come from?
Yes, because I have believed in myself and I followed this footstep to get here.
Okay.
Do you get it?
No. No, that doesn't answer the question.
Are you Jewish?
I'm a spiritual Jew, yeah.
You're a Jewish.
I'm a spiritual Jew, but I'm Catholic.
You're a Jew, and I can smell you through the camera.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it isn't a bad thing or a good thing. I have told you all my views, sir, and I respect you of who you are. You can believe in whichever motherfucking God you choose to, and I am sorry that this religion has been forced to you and your generations, and some of them have died because of this stupid fucking religion that you are following. Stop that and start a new life. Believe in yourself and believe in your family, and you will find peace in your heart. There is no God. This is my answer to you, my brother. So I hope that you evolve in time and are able to find peace inside your heart and start to trust yourself and believe in yourself. If you want to find the answer and if you want to knock on my door, you are welcome to, and I will show you the light.
At the end of my interviews, I usually just ask my guests to wrap up by giving a little closing thought. So what would you say to anyone that's listening?
Believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, you have lost half the battle already. You got to start setting small goals and restructure your strength. And if you lose all your goals, you're going to get weaker. And if you keep changing path, you will never arrive to your goal. Even if you lose a battle, you should never give up on the war. You got to come back tomorrow and fight it again. And stop believing in imaginary motherfucking shit, because you will never find peace in that.
If you like your worldview, if you think it's swell, if you got some questions, ask me and I'll tell. All you got to do is ask. All you got to do is